I do remember as I was walking up one street, this van was in the middle of the street or something, and I was walking towards it, but then I noticed like the van had stopped, and I kind of like panicked a little bit because all of a sudden they stopped and then they backed up, and it was one of the vans that looked like I had been in with him before, the pyramid guy before, and so I just went the other way. I got I walked all the way back to my old neighborhood where I used to stay in the basement apartment that I really loved when I was working at the homeless shelter. And I was walking down one street and I was like, I don't know what to do. I just felt like he was after me. The pyramid guy was after me, or he had friends after me. You know, it could have been seen as an irrational fear, but there were signs. I'm going to get there. I came to a bus stop on the corner, and I was like, I have to get on this bus. I don't know what I'm going to tell this bus driver, but I have to get on this bus because I need to get out of here. I feel like I feel like someone's following me. And the bus driver came up in the bus and stopped, and I got on, and I was like, I don't have any fare, but I'm in an emergency situation. And he was just like, go ahead, just have your fare next time. I think they're trained to know or trained to understand, like when someone says that, like they're not playing. And I'm sure I looked terrible. I felt terrible. I had been texting an older ex-coworker that I knew when I was working at the homeless shelter. And I told her that I had left. I had left this guy. As I was texting her, I was kind of sort of giving her these vague questions like, if there was a woman who X, Y, and Z, like, what do you think would be the best move for her? And, she would kind of give me these kind of just standard answers. I don't believe she understood that I was talking about me until that night I left. Anyway, I'll say after the bus stop, it came to like a bus depot, I guess. I guess you can call it that, where you can either like get on the train. I don't know if it was the subway or if it was like the Long Island Railroad station type thing. And I remember it was cold. One thing I will never forget about New York is how cold it was there, okay? And then on top of that, me feeling cold and dark on the inside of myself, it was horrible. I was standing there. It was dark, there were cabs and stuff going back and forth. A couple of guys standing there. I guess they were waiting for the train or either to catch a cab. And I had my phone, and it made this sound like and I was like, well, help me Jesus, it made this sound, and I looked at my phone, and it said something like find your phone or something like that. And I was just like, okay, now I know that I'm not crazy. Like, now that I know that there's someone after me. But I was like, okay, I need my phone to get somewhere, because, or to at least talk to this ex-coworker. Oh, Jesus, 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 help me, Jesus. Help me, Jesus. Give me the peace that I need to finish this. This is for your glory. This is not for me. And the reason why I'm sitting here doing this now. This is all for your glory. Anyway, I started to panic a little bit. And this guy in one of the cabs, he rode up in the cab and he stopped in front of me, and I was just like, okay, what are you what are you doing? I was already on edge because, finding my phone, the situation with the phone. And he was like, I seen you've been standing here for a minute. There's a Dunkin' Donuts right over there across the parking lot where you can go and sit down, and it's warm in there. And I was like, okay, thank you. And then I went on. I went to the Dunkin' Donuts. There were a few caring people. Just, you never know what, it just could be a few words. You never know how you're helping someone. I'm thankful for those small moments. They weren't like this big thing, but they were significant in my timeline of my life and of my testimony. Let me check the time really quick. Wow, I can talk a lot, which is quite interesting. But maybe about 15 minutes or so, 10. I'll have to try to do a part 3. Part 3. Okay, I went in the Dunkin' Donuts. I was already thinking in my mind, they're not going to let me sit in here, for an extended amount of time, because they're going to want me to buy something. So I bought one of those Boston cream-filled donuts. You might have another name for them. I love those. When I don't even know if I finished it because I was so on edge on what to do. I was the only one in there because it was so late in the evening, or morning rather, and a cashier, but they kept going in the back for whatever reason. So I was mostly like by myself, sitting there like, okay, God, what do I do? What do I do? And I was texting my ex-coworker like, okay, what should I do? What should I do? And she said, you should go to the hospital. Just go to the hospital, and in the visitor section, they should have somewhere where you can sit for a while. I ended up staying. I got back on the bus. And got to that hospital, and they had the heated, because it's cold in New York, they have those heated areas before you walk into the hospital, which was great. I felt that heat and I was like, thank you, Jesus, because it's cold. Or thank you, God. I might have just said thank you, God, because I wasn't really aware of Jesus just yet. And I went in one of the bathrooms, and I was trying to clean myself up because I don't know when I had showered. The last time I had showered, and they had a seating area in the front, in front of the big windows, floor to like ceiling windows, and anybody could drive up and see you, but I felt okay to sit there. I ended up falling asleep there. I want to say there was someone else sleeping there, or either later on, but I stayed there for that evening / late morning, the full day into part of the evening of the next day. And my ex-coworker texted me and she was like, I've been talking it over with my son. She was living with her son, or they were staying together. And she was like, I want you to think about it, about coming to stay with us for a little while. And, immediately I was like, yes, because like, I don't know, like what else I'm going to do right now. And I was too ashamed to tell my mother. I had called her when I was in the mental institution and let her know, like, I'm in here because I cut myself, but I still didn't want to come back to California because I didn't want her to see me in the state that I was in. So I stayed with that lady for a while. She too had a religious spirit on her. I just remember she kind of was very judgmental, completely different from how she was at work. And there would be times I would play gospel music because it was giving me peace. Like, I started listening to the words of the songs, God being a protector, things like that, and it just gave me some sort of peace listening to those things. And I would listen to like in the morning or whatever. And I could hear her say like, oh, there she goes performing again, or something, along those lines. And I was still smoking weed, yes, or trying to get my hands on weed. I had linked back up with the guy I met at the fashion show, to get stuff. But before I did that, I was seeking work. I forgot to mention, I while I was with the pyramid guy, I did work on and off as a house cleaner, but I wasn't a great house cleaner. I didn't know certain things. I knew a little bit, but it wasn't. I hadn't really researched a lot of stuff, so I just did what I could to get by. And then a lot of the times working under this app that I used, clients sometimes they would forget that they made an appointment, and if you don't show up or whatever, then the cleaner gets a fee coming back to them. So that's how I was able to make a little money. Excuse me. And I still had wanted to be a cleaner when I moved in with the ex-coworker. But she was always like, oh, well, being a cleaner is fine, but, you should start to look for something more full-time. Anyway, I was still working, making my little money. But the words and the songs that I would listen to, like, they would give me a little peace. I would start to listen to T.D. Jakes, some of his messages, just to kind of get myself through the day, or to start off my day as I went on to clean different houses. The enemy did begin to give me irrational fears, and one of those fears was believing that I had a disease, and that if I was, even around anyone, just breathing, like, I would give it to them, and it would cause it would cause them to become sick. And what fueled that irrational fear was the fact that I had been an escort, and I hadn't taken care of myself. I hadn't gone to be checked out. Like I said, lost in my mind. Like, I don't care about who I am. So, that going somewhere to be checked wasn't in my mind. Wasn't in my list of things that I need to do, that I need to take care of. And I hate this. I really hate that I have to keep stopping. But I do have to be somewhere by 12. I really need to get something to eat. I'm just gonna have to wait. Enemy was giving me irrational fears. I had to move out from with the ex-coworker. I didn't exactly want to, but at the same time I did want to, because I could see how she was, who she truly was, outside of work. And she was, a Christian who had, I had seen her go on fasts. So, it was just very interesting how different she was towards me. We used to be almost like best friends, even though she was older than I. She was a Jamaican woman. But I believe, the rumors about me doing certain things when I was working with her, maybe that scarred her. I don't know. But then again, after I was terminated, she still brought me food. She would bring me ackee and saltfish and green plantain. And, I've learned how to make it myself now. So, but she still brought me like food after I was terminated. So I was like, okay, that doesn't really add up either. So anyway, she was who she was. God bless her for at least letting me stay, for the little time that she did allow me to stay. But she wanted me to move because she was having someone else from Jamaica or wherever, and his granddaughter stay with them, and there would no longer be enough room for me. So I was in a frantic for that week trying to find somewhere else to stay. Finally did, in this house with this guy. He was an attorney for something, but he had many rooms in that house. There was 3 floors, all women staying there. We were kind of around the same age, maybe a few years older or whatnot. I remember there was a stripper staying there, another lady staying there. I remember she asking me to clean her room because we were talking, and I let her know, I like to clean or whatever, and she gave me a couple dollars for cleaning her room, which was cool. Another lady that I became sort of smoking buddies with, but she was attracted to me, and even though I was bisexual in my mind, but not really physically with anybody, I don't know, I wasn't feeling it, we just smoked together, that was about it. Had a couple laughs, watched some interesting things, and talking about God and like the state of the world, stuff like that. But I remember like the first few nights or so, maybe a week or so like that, I was literally sleeping on the floor, and the landlord, he didn't want to turn on the heat half the time, so I would have to sleep with my outside jacket on with my boots on. Certain things like that. He cut the rent very, very low because, there was no room for me to actually stay in. And I remember smoking a lot. And it just seemed like no matter how much I smoke, like I'm not really getting as high as I used to. I guess my tolerance was really high. I would get those cigarillo wraps. I don't even know why I'm explaining this, but anyway, and I would just stuff it with marijuana, and I would sit there and I would smoke like 2 or 3 of those after I got home from cleaning, and it was like it wasn't enough. I'll tell you guys this before I wrap this up for part 3. I was still very depressed and all of that, still filled with darkness, even though I was working and whatnot, still smoking and stuff. I came to a point where this irrational fear was still on me, and I was still dealing with suicidal thoughts, still cutting here and there, and I just was laying in bed, and just death was on me, like smothering me. And I was like, I need to end this. I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be living anymore. And that's when I started really cutting myself. Y'all can't see all of this stuff, but or maybe you can a little bit. I just started cutting, like my arms. Couldn't really do my right arm because I'm right-handed, but I was just going crazy on my arms, trying to hit a vein, but not really going deep enough. But I did kind of cut enough, and the blood kept coming out, and I was like, I smoked or whatever, and then I was like, God, like, I just want this to be over. And I remember there were these sheets I had just bought. I loved those sheets. They had like blue little designs on them, and I just remember seeing the blood kind of just spill out on the sheets, and I was just praying like, God, please don't let me wake up, and then softly to myself, like, but if I do wake up, then I know that you have something planned for me. Like, it was just a small little bit that I said, and I woke up the next day, and I just felt a different kind of peace that I hadn't experienced before. And I knew something was different, and I knew that God was, needed me to stay here for some reason. During the course of me working as a cleaner, the pyramid guy would be following me, and I knew it was him because I knew him. You know someone if you're with them day in and day out, you know, you guys are together like Velcro all the time. You know their mannerisms. You know what their fingernails look like. Even if they're completely covered, you know what their eyebrows, their eyes look like. Even if they're completely covered from nose down or whatever. You know these things. Doesn't matter if their shoes have changed or whatever. I knew he was following me, you know, and I still had that same phone, which eventually I'd gotten rid of. But then it was like as soon as I got a new phone, all of a sudden I received this text from a random number talking about, oh, do you need weed or something like that? And I was just like, but again, you know, you try to explain these things to people and they look at you like you're crazy. But I think they call it stalking. I might have to mute that out because I don't know what YouTube is gonna flag, or if you're gonna flag me for saying certain stuff on this video or part 1. But yeah. So thinking I might have to end this. Yeah, I should probably end this. Oh man. Okay, so anyway, I finally started talking to my mother, and I was like, you know, I think I'm ready to come back, you know, to California. I can't do this anymore. I've had this a little bit of peace, but I was still crazy. No, I shouldn't say crazy, but I was still lost. I was still very lost. Crazy in my mind and in my thoughts, but still just lost. And so she made a way for me to come on back, especially since I told her, you know, I believe that someone's following me every time I go somewhere. But, you know, just guys that would just seem to be in the same area where I am often and just kind of watching me, like, and I try to contribute that to, okay, maybe I was just really skinny and, you know, but no, like, the people were just watching me. And some other things happened as well. I just was being stalked, blatantly stalked, but then being made to look like I was crazy or out of my mind. No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. Even coming back to California was an interesting thing, but I'm gonna have to end this because I need to get something to eat real quick so I can head to my car appointment. I thank you guys so much for watching this part 2, and hopefully I can get part 3 out soon. Really wish I could finish this today, but I didn't realize that my testimony would be so long. Didn't realize I would be talking this much. As you know, as I stated before, I don't do much talking unless I need to, but I guess this is the most important thing that I need to talk to you guys about, and set someone else free in the process. So thank you guys so much for watching this, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. To the one who saved me. I was dirty, blind, and dumb until you washed me. That's why I'll always call on your name. All of me belongs to you. Your peace takes me higher on such a boat. You're by my side. I'll trust you later in vain, knowing everything about me. Holding my hand.